So, interesting thing. I just wanted to kind of document. Um, I decided to go out today and just stop by like the neighborhood bar that I used to go to long before all this stuff happened with the pandemic and everything. So, back when things were normal. And this is my first time being back in there since all this stuff has happened. And I go in there and it's like I just literally felt like it was a bunch of snakes like slithering around me, like just surrounding me. And, um, it's, I have such a warm, inviting energy that I think a lot of people think that it's safe to approach me. And maybe they were just drunk, but I had a lot of people approach me more so than usual. And of course, I was nice and polite to them, but what I found was that I literally could not get out of that bar fast enough. I got one drink. The second I realized that I was like being attacked by vultures, basically, at every turn, I just could not get out of there fast enough. And I don't know if it's like a change in my energy or what, but I mean, I used to like go and hang out in bars and read books and sit there and drink beers and nobody would talk to me for hours. But now I can't walk into a fucking bar without like a million people coming up and trying to talk to me. And it's kind of freaking frustrating to tell you the truth because sometimes I just want to get out of the house and go have a good time and have a drink in another environment without being constantly harassed by a bunch of guys. So, the reason why I wanted to document this is because I was thinking about it. And it reminded me of a dream that I had long ago. And I don't know if I've ever recorded this, but this was like back before I moved to Utah. And I was like there. I was in kind of like, I guess you could say I was in like just not a great place, like I had some friends that were just not great influences and I really was not headed on a great path. And I had all this family out here in Utah that were trying to get me to come out there, but I didn't want to come out. I wanted to stay where my friends were at. And so I'd had this really, really bad situation occur, like a really bad experience, a couple of nights prior to this dream. And I had this dream and it has always stuck with me. Like it still just sticks out with me in great detail. And so I was reminded of it. It sparked it with what happened tonight. So I'm going to recall it so that I document it. So I was like in Mexico in this dream. And I knew that I was in Tijuana, Mexico, because I used to go there a lot when I was younger, like 15 and 16. I would fly out there from Atlanta with my boyfriend at the time, and we would drive down in Tijuana. So I knew like the culture and I felt the energy and I knew where I was supposed to be in this dream. And I don't know if I have some kind of tie to that because I think my dad is like a Spaniard. Like I think that's where his family ties come from. So maybe there was some kind of ancestral connection there or something. I don't know. But anyway, in this dream that was happening like in the middle of one of the greatest tragedies of my life, I was walking through this pet shop and I walked in the door and it was like the way that the pet shop was set up, it was like you would walk in and then you would walk around. It was kind of shaped like a U. Like you walk in the door, you walk to the right, you walk past all the aquariums, and then you walk back out. So I walk in and I'm walking through, and there's all these aquariums, and they have all these snakes, these reptiles and stuff inside of them. And it wasn't reptiles, it was all snakes. Every single thing in that aquarium was was a snake. So I'm walking through and I'm about halfway through. And right as I start to get halfway through, I look and I realize that these snakes have human faces. They literally, their entire bodies were serpents, but the snakes had human faces. Oh my gosh, this is giving me chills because I experienced it at a different time in my life. And so for me to think about it from like a very spiritual perspective right now, is kind of giving me the chills. But so I look and I realize that they are snakes. and they have human faces. And it was like the second that I recognized that what they were, and I identified them, they became angry. They absolutely started going ballistic out of their minds, and they started like stretching their bodies up. You know how snakes are, they're long and they don't really have a way to push anything or do anything, but they were literally like stretching and contorting their bodies into these really awkward positions to push the tops off of these aquariums. And I kid you not, these snakes, all of them, like at the same time, get out of their aquariums, and they are like coming for me. And I'm halfway through the shop at this time. And so I realize what's going on, and I start to run for the door, and they're all coming out of their cages. They are like just completely going ballistic. And right as I get to the door, there's this old, like the absolute, you know, standard idea that everyone thinks of. It's like the silhouette that you see against the side of a building that's like the Mexican cowboy with the cowboy hat, like kind of leaned down like this, just chilling. He's not worried about a thing in the world, like piece of straw in his mouth, hat. He's just got his arms up and he's chilling like this. I get to the door, and there's this like big old Mexican guy with the hat on, with the arms just like that, and he's like completely undisturbed, not even bothered by what is taking place whatsoever. He's unscathed by it. He doesn't even realize what's going on. So when I get to the door, I am in a complete panic. And I look to him because all the snakes are getting to the front of the door right now, to the point that they are going to get me. And if I don't get help, I can't get out. Like there was no way for me to get out. And I looked at him, and I knew that he was big enough and strong enough to help me, to pick me up and lift me out. And I looked at him, and I just looked straight in his eyes, and he looked over at me. Well, I looked at him, and he slowly looks over at me, and we make eye contact. And I just said, "Help me." And he lifts me up. He just reaches out his big old broad arms, strong arms, and he lifts me up, and he sets me on the other side of the door so that I can escape all of these poisonous, toxic, venomous snakes that are coming towards me. And that was such a profound dream in my life at that moment. That was literally what inspired me to leave Georgia and to get out of there and to come to Utah and to try to seek out a better life for myself, because I honestly feel like if I would have stayed in that environment that I had going on there, it would not have ended well. And I always wondered like what that meant. What was the point of that? I mean, I knew that it had some meaning, but it's really hitting me now. It would, I knew that I was being kind of picked up, like plucked up from a dangerous situation and moved into a better situation. But I just realized the significance of the fact that they all were being kept in these aquariums. And they were always there, and they were always surrounding me, and they were always nasty and venomous and icky, but they were being kept in these aquariums. And it was like, as long as when I was walking through that shop and I didn't realize what they were, that they had human faces and that they were evil, everything was fine. They were just chill. They weren't even bothered by me walking through the shop. But once I realized, and they knew that I saw what they were, that was when they went ballistic. And I'm wondering if I'm not reading too much into this, but maybe that's trying to say, when you start to develop the level of discernment that allows you to recognize negative spirits, demons, things like that, that angers them. It wakes them up, and it makes them want to come out of their little cages that they've been quietly kept in. They stay there when they're operating under the radar, but once you see them, they start to come out of the woodwork. And that was literally how I felt tonight walking through that bar. I kid you not. It was like an onslaught of energies coming at me from every direction. I mean, I sat down at the bar. Somebody tried to talk to me. I was polite, went back to my phone. Then another guy comes up. He tries to talk to me on this side. Polite, go back to my phone. I get up, try to walk outside, try to enjoy a drink on the thing. A guy literally stops me on my way to the door. Then I get out on the porch. There's a guy watching me from across the way. It was completely, I mean, I've been hit on bars before, but the onslaught felt very, there was something more significant about that than usual on like a spiritual level that really resonated with me. And then when I got home, I thought about this dream, and now I'm starting to wonder if maybe that's not kind of trying to indicate something, trying to tell me something, about being careful, about just going out and being around those energies, because I have been very, you know, um, just doing my own thing lately, and I've been loving it. And the few times I have gone out, I've gone to like the casino where I can just put my headphones on and play my game, and people don't really try to talk to you when you go to the casino. When you go to the bar, they kind of assume that you're there to try to hook up. And I don't know if it was that or something more, but just the fact that it jarred my memory to that dream, I felt like that was something significant that I wanted to document and record. So I will remember that in the future and hopefully be able to build on that as I continue to learn these beautiful spiritual lessons. So thanks for sharing with me.